What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Ty with Opinionated Grind. I am back again today with yet another video. And this time, guys, we're going to talk about these Amazon layoffs that's supposed to be coming pretty much from January of this year, 2026, through May of 2026. And it's an unfortunate thing, but they're talking about at least 30,000 jobs being lost over the next 6 months, or that's 5 to 6 months, guys. So I would like to get your thoughts and opinions on that. And here we are, guys. We talked about this in the previous video, this whole AI implementation, and how AI is going to pretty much be taking over a lot of these companies, these corporate roles, corporate positions, whatever you guys want to call it. And a lot of folks are going to be losing their jobs, man. And this is obviously a terrible trend. This has been going on probably the past few years, guys. From the likes of Amazon, UPS, FedEx, Post Office, and probably 90 plus other companies out here that have been laying people off left and right due to this AI implementation, as I just mentioned, guys. So, I just don't know where we go from here, man. And we also talked about the fact that, when you lay all these folks off like this, what's the contingency plan? Like, what is the backup plan that these guys, these ladies, everyone that in between that's been laid off, what are people supposed to do? That's the number one question I always ask, guys. What are people supposed to do in a time like this? If you're getting laid off, typically you want to have a plan B, right? But what does your plan B look like on a typical day-to-day basis? You see what I'm saying, guys? What does it look like? What are you supposed to do? You lost your job. The only other thing that you really can do is draw unemployment. But typically with unemployment, now I'm not sure if that's a state-to-state thing, but I know usually with them, they only want to pay you approximately, I think, about 60% of your salary. Okay? So you think about it like this, guys. It's hard enough living off of 100% of your salary. Imagine getting 60% of your salary in 2026. You're not going to be able to survive. Okay? So that's the most bothersome thing about this whole situation, guys, is the fact that not only you lost your job, but what is your plan B? What is your plan C, plan D? How are you going to be able to pay your bills? How are you going to make ends meet? How are you going to, take care of yourself and your family? Those are the questions that hit a lot of people's minds, when you're facing a layoff, okay? But again, guys, we're talking about 30,000 roles. And actually, what I want to do, guys, I want to actually go into some information real quick, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to put it up on your screen, guys. It says that a cold start to 2026 with Amazon layoffs. Goes on to say, guys, that starting January 26th, 2026, thousands of employees will be at the receiving end of the Amazon layoffs. This will, more or less, act as the elimination of pandemic hangover and correct the 2020 through 2022 hiring surge. Furthermore, worker adjustment and restraining notification, or better known as WARN, notices filed in Washington, California, and others specify separation starting January 26th and continuing through May. These layoffs at Amazon will primarily target managerial and corporate positions. Some estimates suggest the total cuts could reach 30,000. Lastly, the upcoming Amazon layoffs are phased to comply with legal requirements while allowing internal transitions. Affected staff will receive at least 90 days of pay and benefits during the notice period. Okay, guys. So again, that's unfortunate. We're talking about this WARN system, worker adjustment and restraint notifications. What do you guys think about that, man? These corporations are always coming up with something wild and crazy, man, to try to justify, pretty much destroying people's lives. I mean, that's what you're doing, man. You're destroying people's lives. You're destroying their livelihoods over profits. Your profit margin and your bottom line is more important than people's lives. People being able to make ends meet, as I stated before, guys. People being able to eat and survive and take care of their families. you know. And what that says to me, guys, is that the rich continue to get rich and the poor continue to get poor. But I want to continue on with some more information and see exactly what you guys think. All right, so the next one, guys, is love bombing AI with job cuts at Amazon. Let's throw this up, guys. CEO Andy Jassy has explicitly linked the rise of generative AI to efficiency gains. The company aims to reallocate resources by pouring an eye-popping $100 billion over the next decade into AI infrastructure and AWS data centers. This pivot marks a shift away from human-intensive operations toward a more automated, tech-driven future. Moreover, internal reports confirm that AI agents and advanced automation tools are already taking over repetitive tasks in engineering, product management, and operations. It goes without saying that these will eventually contribute to the layoffs in Amazon in 2026. This trend also reflects a broader change. Routine positions at tech companies are slowly erased to oblivion. At the end of the day, these Amazon layoffs in 2026 will represent a proactive transition. Every company now wants to remain lean and competitive by prioritizing AI-enabled productivity over traditional headcount. Lastly, everyone, for what it's worth, Amazon layoffs in 2026 will reflect CEO Andy Jassy's vision for a more efficient model. While painful for impacting employees, these job cuts at Amazon will help the giant enhance competitiveness. What remains unanswered is job displacement in tech and human cost of innovation. All right, so in other words, guys, that pretty much just summed up what I said. The rich get richer, the poor get poor. Now these are, mid-level jobs, guys. These are, those really heavy corporate jobs, guys, and at the end of the day, nobody should be able to lose their jobs because they're all employees. It doesn't matter, if you are the Amazon worker that works in the warehouse, or you make deliveries as a courier for Amazon, or in this case, guys, we're talking about, the engineering and product management operations, same thing. You ever heard the saying, guys, where it says, too many chefs in the kitchen? That's pretty much all it is, man. You just got too many folks running around, you got too many people pointing fingers and telling everybody what to do. So they're getting rid of that, unfortunately. As they say, they're trimming the fat, okay? They're trying to become more lean. These companies are trying to become more efficient in 2026, but at the cost of the American worker, okay? And I don't hear the president of the United States, I don't hear him saying anything about it. I don't hear him coming up with any, meaningful solutions as to what people should be doing. So it's just unfortunate, man, and this is where we are. I read an article, guys, talking about Amazon and their profits that they actually received in 2025. And guys, what I read was that, don't know if it's completely true, but it said they earned about $60 billion. Not 60 million, guys, 60 billion with a B in 2025. But yet you still feel the need to have to lay off 30,000 people, So Jeff Bezos, he's rich enough. He's got enough bread in his pocket, man. And at the end of the day, I think like, man, it's not enough. It's not enough. And we also talked about, guys, the automation. In the last video, we talked about, the AI robots, being able to work side by side with Amazon employees in these companies. And remember, guys, when you implement AI, when you implement these robots, this software, etc., robots don't take a break. Robots don't get tired. Robots don't have to take a 15-minute smoke break, during the day. Robots don't call out. They're just going to work and they're going to be more efficient. And that's all the company cares about, efficiency and making money. And, it is what it is. All right, but lastly, everybody, man, I got a few videos, man, I want to just kind of show you guys just to kind of piggyback off of this information. And I want to see what you guys think about it. And, just give it more context. This is going to shed more light on this whole issue. And, it's an unfortunate thing, but let's see what you guys think. All right, let's roll with it.
30,000 jobs to go at Amazon, about 10% of the corporate workforce. That's what's being reported right now by Reuters. But if it's true, it's exactly what Andy Jassy said would happen. He wrote a letter to investors about 4 months ago saying that generative AI is going to sweep through his company and it's going to help him keep the company like a startup, lean, scrappy, innovative. But it will mean he'll have fewer corporate jobs in the next few years. And so the job cuts come already across all parts of the business. The report's saying it's going to be in logistics, it's going to be in the compute side, the growth story, the Amazon Web Services, data center growth of offering cloud computing, but also video games. All parts are going to be analyzed for efficiency as more and more companies do more with less. But let me know if you're affected, if you're worried about whether you're going to be augmented by AI or replaced, and whether other companies are going to be doing the same.
All right, guys. So let's roll with the next one.
Amazon said it is cutting 14,000 jobs in one of the biggest rounds of layoffs in the company's history. The layoffs span across industries ranging from advertising, recruitment, payments, Fire TV, even customer analytics. Its Audible unit was also affected, so really it was widespread and across the board. The pain might not be over yet at Amazon either. Employees at the company's AWS unit, this is its cloud division, worry that they could be next. The question now is, will other companies follow suit and follow Amazon's lead, especially as more and more companies are adopting AI within their workflows and just their business models in general. Just this month, Meta announced job cuts and also told some employees that their work was going to be replaced by technology. You had another company like Chegg that cut 45% of its staff and attributed those layoffs to AI. And for Amazon specifically, this is a company that Wall Street has not really been rewarding of late. Amazon, of course, is one of the Mag 7 stocks. These are the big tech stocks that really dominate the market right now. But if you look at the returns of those Magnificent 7 stocks over the past 5 years, Amazon is the only one that underperforms the broader market. Clearly here, there's a move within Amazon to try to speed up, become the world's largest startup, improve efficiencies, and just get better.
All right, guys, and let's roll with the last one, and we'll wrap this up.
New filings show just how aggressively Amazon is cutting into its technical workforce. In New York, California, New Jersey, and Washington, nearly 40% of the more than 4,700 reported layoffs were engineers. Now we're talking about mostly mid-level developers. More than 500 product and program managers were let go, along with senior and principal level staff. It's part of CEO Andy Jassy's push to make Amazon operate like the world's largest startup. Fewer layers, faster decision-making, and a leaner org chart after all that pandemic hiring. But there's also a bigger shift happening here. AI is quietly starting to rewrite the job description for white-collar tech work. Amazon says AI wasn't the main driver of these layoffs, but it is doubling down on internal automation, including a new coding assistant. Tools like this and other so-called vibe coding platforms from startups like Cursor and Anthropic have been supplanting the need for that mid-level engineer role at tech firms out here in Silicon Valley. And Amazon's cuts reflect exactly that shift. But it's not just engineers. The company has gutted its gaming division, scaled back its AI shopping teams, and even trimmed roles in its high-margin ad business. It all points to an early but very real restructuring of the American white-collar workforce. And remember, more layoffs for Amazon are expected in January.
Well, there you have it, guys. As I stated before, it's an unfortunate thing. They're talking about January 2026, or actually January the 26th, 2026, coming up, guys, this month. This is not going to stop anytime soon, guys. There's also an article floating around about a list of, at least I would say, 100 plus employers right now that's going to be, laying folks off this year. And these job cuts are going to unfortunately continue. As you heard in the videos, guys, Amazon's looking to be, pretty much like a brand new startup for 2026. A lean, mean fighting machine, unfortunately. And You know, all of the pandemic overhiring and all of the bloat and the overstaffing, you know, this is what they feel they need to do, you know. And as the old saying goes, guys, shit rolls downhill. So it's going to start from the top, and unfortunately, it's just going to work its way down to the bottom till you get to, you know, the low-level employees. You know, we're talking about, you know, like I said, your drivers, warehouse workers, supervisors, etc. You know, I have a feeling those jobs are going to be cut in the end. Okay, so right now I think, you know, those guys and girls are safe, but once, like I said, they get rid of all those engineers, those mid-level, you know, jobs, you know, the bottom-level jobs is going to be next, unfortunately. All right, so let me know down below in the comment section how you guys feel about this. You know, it's not a good topic, man, but it's reality, and you know, at the end of the day, the best thing I would probably say, you know, you have to try to have a plan B. You know, of course, no one really saw this coming 10 years ago, but AI is here. It's been implemented, and you know, it's pretty much survival mode at this point. All right. So appreciate you guys watching the video. Leave a comment down below. Make sure that you like, share the video, and subscribe. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.